Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone, and happy to slay. Welcome to the Rise and Slay Morning Show. My name is Rochelle Slay Queen Hemingway, CEO and founder of Slay to Success. I advise and empower women professionals, especially women veterans, to step up into their most authentic personal brand to gain lucrative opportunities. And we are focusing on appearance, behaviors, communication skills, and your digital presence. We are doing all of this with this Slay to Success in mind. Slay means to kill it, to dominate it, and to nail it, to be on point, to impress greatly, to dream big and work hard until you own it. It is also an acronym that stands for Universal Life and Leadership Philosophies that really resonate with me the most, and I'm sure they resonate with you too. And it stands for stay ready to be ready, lead out loud, a sense of community, a sense of family, and knowing you are built to last. I am a professional keynote speaker, a certified image consultant, personal brand expert, four-time author, and last but not least, United States Air Force veteran, 30 years. So, with all that being said, that was a whole bunch of titles and so forth and so on. And today, y'all, I want to talk specifically about how we're going to rediscover our identity beyond our jobs, our careers, what we do. For some of us, 9 to 5, some of us are entrepreneurs like myself. What are we doing, okay, to establish ourselves beyond the titles? Now, in my picture today on LinkedIn, I had a t-shirt and it has mom, wife, and CEO on there. And those are some of the titles that I carry, okay, because I have been married to my husband, Dr. Dominique Hemingway, retired chief, for over 22, well, it'll be 22 years this year. And we have a 14, soon to be 15-year-old son. So, I also established this business after I retired from the Air Force. And so I know sometimes it could be extremely hard to get out of the title, position, ways of thinking because the perspectives are so different. So if you are here with us, and I say us, me, you, anyone's here, please make sure you let me know that you are here, where you're streaming in from, so I can give you a shout out because you decided that you wanted to spend a little bit of time with me during this morning session. Now, in this Rise and Slay morning show, I'm just coming out of my workout. I get my workouts in first thing in the morning. And I tell you, I was sprinting, I was lifting heavy weights. So I'm in this mode right now where I'm like, okay, I'm hyped up. All right. And hopefully you are too. And you're ready to slay this week. It is snowing out here and we're digging ourselves out right now. So if you are in the same predicament as me, I understand. And it's 25 degrees outside, y'all. So I have not been outside. I'm not going outside over the next couple of days. And so I just want to share with you a little bit of insight about what I am talking with my clients. So I do individual consultations, 6-week sessions. And one of these topics that we talk about is our brand identity. And what is our identity beyond our jobs? Now, I spent 30 years in the Air Force where I was wearing a military uniform every day. Okay, every day. Sometimes on the weekends, I would wear the uniform for a couple of hours. I used to work shift work when I was a medical technician. And so, I got used to just putting that on every day. I knew exactly what I was supposed to be wearing. People were calling me, airman, sergeant, all the way up to chief. And I didn't know exactly how I was going to explore in this next chapter outside of the uniform. And someone asked me when I went to a networking event. So I network like crazy out here in the DMV, which is the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area, region, if you will. And one of the questions that I got asked, like at the beginning, was, what do you do? What do you do? And I could not answer them without letting them know that I had retired from the Air Force. And I realized that when I said that, the eyes were getting big, people were getting a little bit flustered. I wasn't connecting, it wasn't really resonating. And I really had to understand who I was outside of the uniform. And it had been my identity for decades. For decades. And I know some of us are in that predicament. I know some of us haven't worn the uniform, but maybe we're transitioning out of a career and trying to figure out where you're going to go, what you're going to do, and how you're going to do it. Because we live in a world where titles define us. Okay. Um, I have been defined as a veteran, a mom, a wife, a sister, an aunt, um, and so forth and so on. But when that is stripped away from us, sometimes we feel like we're at a loss. It is a grieving journey, if you will, because you're losing a piece of yourself. So I want to go beyond the titles, beyond the jobs, all right, the labels. I want us to step confidently into our personal brand, all right, which is ourselves, to elevate ourselves in such a way where we can now feel good, not even really good, but at least a little bit more aware about how we are speaking about ourselves and explore what we do outside of our jobs. Okay. So I have my notes down here. So that's why I'm going to be looking a little bit about where we're going to go. All right. Now, rediscovering our identity can prevent so many different things. When I started on my journey, I asked myself, what do I like? What don't I like? Where do I want to spend my time? Who do I want to spend my time with? What kind of things am I interested in and I want to learn more about? And I started to really ask my questions because if we don't, we're going to burn ourselves out and there's a lot of resentment. Okay. Because when we tie our identity to our jobs, our careers, right? It's easy to overwork ourselves and lose sight of really what fulfills us the most. I was working so hard the last 2.5, 3 years of my career that all I could see was, how do I help in the mission? I really wasn't asking myself, what do I want to do when I retire? Now, I found my way, but I know there's a lot of women, especially women veterans, who are at a high level and working very, very, very hard and are clouded, can't see beyond the uniform, can't see beyond the career. And that's going to burn us out because it's not really fulfilling us. We're just going through the motions and they're just going in every single day. Hey, what do I got to do? Hey, I get it done. On to the next thing. So I was getting burnt out, all right, at the end. And I look at it now and it was inevitable. And I started to really resent some of the things that I was doing because I actually love being in the uniform. But because I had so much at me, thrown at me, I was feeling like that was all I was doing. I was going into this cycle of, working really late, getting up very early, getting back at it the same, the same way every day. So when I rediscovered my identity, I realized that my time, the people that I spend it with, where I'm going, how I'm doing it was so important. All right. And I needed a sense of purpose in this next chapter in a different way. So when we really discover our identity, we also improve our relationships. We start having genuine connections. All right. And we improve when people see the real us, not someone that has to necessarily do the work, the task, the, projects, if you will. All right. And titles fade, they fade away. All right. But authenticity, it lasts for a long time. Now, I am in my most authentic self right now. Um, I realized that there were a lot of things that I was getting away from myself that I really liked about me. Um, yes, I can be a little bit intense, but now I'm a little bit more loose, comfortable in what I do. I wouldn't share with people about how much I would, love to exercise because people got a distaste for that. But now I realize that that is a part of me and that's always been a part of me. I absolutely love that part of how I can challenge myself. I love to network. I like to socialize. I like to be involved in events. I like to go to places new. Those are the things that I didn't get to do a lot of times when I was in uniform. So now I'm really investing in myself. I invested in my wardrobe, y'all, because I was wearing that uniform and that was the only thing. And now I want to be like, okay, what else can I make of this? How can I show up for myself and show up a little bit differently? So, and when I started to do that, I was attracting the right people in my circle, the people that really understood what I'm about, what I am passionate about, what my interests are, and things are evolving. Because when you know who you are at your core, you can definitely adapt to life's changes without fear of losing yourself. I lost myself a few times when I was in uniform. I had to rediscover myself several times because when you do lose yourself, sometimes you make decisions based on what everyone else is saying and not really what is, the true sense of what's happening in the situation. And I'm not proud of some of the decisions that I made. All right. So I kind of went with the crowd. I just kind of fell in to what everyone else was saying and doing. And, I think that happens to many of us. And we just have to get back to our truest self. What are our core values? What are we about? All right. And letting people know what we stand for and how we can, do it differently. Because life is lifing. There will be changes. There's always going to be changes in life. We're always in transition from something to something else, right? So the impacts of over identifying with our title are real. Okay. Again, my last role was Command Chief Master Sergeant. All right. And I saw people who were losing their self worth based on their titles. If your self worth is tied to your title, what happens when that title changes or disappears? People are feeling lost. They're unsure of their value outside of their role. Hey, Ernestine. Good morning to you, Queen. How you doing? Happy New Year. Hope everything is well for you. So glad that you can be here with me live. I'm just, talking about personal brand and outside of our jobs, our roles, these titles, these positions, and all the other things. So if you've got anything to share, please feel free to do so. I'm just so happy that you're here. So again, over identifying with our titles, our positions, our roles, they can also stunt our growth because over identifying with a title can keep us stuck. All right. And we may shy away from opportunities that don't align with how we have defined ourselves. So, have you ever heard of someone is just like back in the day or, when I was, and I hear that a lot, because I still go back into my military, family, if you will, and I still do speaking engagements for the community. And I hear a lot of times, retired so and so and so. And, they're showing up in the presence, still militant, um, wanting people to call them their titles, their positions. And I realized that, their identity work, they haven't really done what they needed to do to find ways to get out of that. Or I've had people call, when I was still, in the uniform, and they were like, "This is retired so and so and so and so." I'm like, "Okay, got it." But why is that always something that we have to lead with? All right, because retirement, job losses, or career changes, they can be emotionally devastating, okay, when our identity is wrapped up into these roles. So we definitely need to make sure that we understand that there are impacts to over identifying with our titles. And so, how can we rediscover our identity? Well, this morning I'm going to be generous and give you 3 tips, all right, that you can start to use today. And one of those is to reflect on your values and your passions. Who are you when no one is watching? Okay. What lights your soul on fire? These questions, all right, can help us uncover the essence of who we are. So just write them down, all right? If you're struggling and you're like, I am not quite sure, this can be a start for you. You start today, all right? I know it's a new year, 2025, and everybody's talking about it, right? Happy New Year as well, Queen, okay? And everybody wants to, improve themselves, enhance themselves, they have New Year's resolutions. I don't do New Year's resolutions anymore. I have one word. My word for this year is impact. I want to make great impact in the communities, in the presentations with my clients more so than ever. Okay. So sometimes, we don't look at things in that way. We look at the resolutions, we make them, and then by the 19th of January, we broke them already, right? Hey Jason, what's going on? How you doing? Thank you so much for being here with me live. So true. Role-based identity is always walking on thin ice. Great content. Let's all go to who and what we are. Be inspired and let's go. Okay, let's go, because we got too many people out here, as you know, Jason, who are walking around here copying catting folks, looking at somebody else and what they do, trying to emulate them, and it don't even look right. They look a hot mess. All right, and we know they're disconnected from their truest self. We can feel it, we can sense it, and when we do, we kind of like do the side eye, right? And we're like, what are you doing? What are you doing? So we have to really figure out who we are when no one is watching. What are you doing behind the scenes that is really, truly lighting you up? And you want to share, but you don't know how to share it because you don't know what people are going to say. Like after a while, I'm like, I don't even care. Like, this is me, how I am, how I'm wired, because everybody's wired differently. So write down 3 things you love doing that have nothing to do with your job. Absolutely nothing to do with your job. All right. Maybe it's gardening. Maybe it's marketing, mentoring, painting. For me, it's shopping. Okay. I am not ashamed to say that I love to go shopping. My husband's like, okay, what we got going on in this closet right now? Y'all, I need to go in my closet right now and purge. I got a lot going on. But I realize I like just going into a store, finding out new pieces, putting things together for other people. I go during part of my program, my personal brand basic program is to take women shopping because, our wardrobe, it speaks for ourselves before we even walk into the room or even say anything, right? And so I coordinate personal brand wardrobes. And for me, I'm like, this is so much fun. And for others, they're like, I do not like to be in the store for no more than 30 minutes, right? So figure that out. What are those three things? These are your passions, and they can define you far more than a job title can ever do. Okay. All right. So, what's one passion or value you have neglected because of your job? Okay. And if you're listening, drop it into the chat or to the comments for me. All right. If you were willing to share, what's one passion or value you've neglected because of your job? So, rediscovering our passions, our interests, what we like, can bring us harmony into our life and reminds us that we're more than just this job description. Okay. I was more than just, hey, health and welfare of X amount of airmen, overseeing a $30 million budget, can problem solve and take care of issues, and turn sour lemons into lemonade. Okay. I am much more than that, and you are much more than that. Okay, so the second tip that I would say is you need to develop a new elevator pitch. Now, I didn't know anything about an elevator pitch when I was in uniform. I learned all this after I retired and created the business. And, when people were asking, like, what do you do and how do you do it when it comes to, my job, I was like, oh my goodness. And then when it came to the business, I had to figure that out. But really, it's about the personal brand statement that you want to say. So, what do you do? And most of us jump to our job titles right away. All right. So, I'm going to challenge us to really answer the question reflecting our true essence. So, example, instead of saying, I'm a teacher, say, I'm passionate about inspiring young minds and creating lifelong learners. Okay. See the difference? There's a difference there. All right. When you say I'm a teacher, it's automatically like just, it's a flat out statement, but it doesn't really get to like what you love to do in the element of being a teacher. So you could say, I'm passionate about and inspiring young minds and create lifelong learners. All right. It shifts the focus from what you do to who you are. So write a new elevator pitch. All right. If some of you are starting out in the new year and you're like, I don't even know, or you're getting ready to retire or transition into your next chapter, write out something and focus on what you're really passionate about and what value you bring to the world, and not just these job titles, y'all. Okay. And then last but not least, we need to prioritize our personal growth outside of work. This is something that I had struggles, I had problems to do, especially in my last role. But the one thing that I found that I could center myself and to disconnect from my job is I was part of the worship, praise and worship team for the base chapel. And I would go to the practices. I would sing on Sundays at the service. I would sing for memorial services with the team. And usually there was like 4 or 5 of us that was singing. And it really allowed me to grow, not only to develop my vocals. Now, I am not a soloist, y'all. I'm not the best singer. But when I'm with other people and we're bringing something to bring more joy and happiness to others, I was like, this is most fitting. And when they saw like the command chief up in the pulpit singing with the praise and worship team, people were like, what is happening? But then after a while, they're like, man, it's most fitting to her. This is something that she's really growing into, and we see her, okay, outside of the uniform. Hey, Tish, happy new year to you, Queen. Thank you so much for being here with us live. I hope you are doing well. Hope family's doing well. So happy again new year to you too. So growth doesn't stop when we clock out. Okay. Well, if you're doing a 9 to 5 or, a typical job, or even, being an entrepreneur, All right. Pursue hobbies, pursue volunteer work, learn a new skill, you know, take a class or a course in something that you have an interest in. So I was speaking on a panel, y'all, and it was for my military community, and most of the audience were women. And I told them that I got my certification as an image consultant, and then I got my certification as a motivational speaking, in motivational speaking. And, you know, one of the questions was like, well, why did you do that? And I said, because it just interested me. I mean, it didn't have to be related to what I had been doing for the past 3 decades. And so many of them started to figure out, hey, oh, I can tap into some of those other interests too. So I had this woman, her name is Kim Pollard, and she's still active duty. She's getting ready to retire, y'all, from the military. And she took a course in arts, and she's the theaters, you know, and she loves astronomical numbers, you know, and so forth. And it has nothing to do with her job, but that is something that she really felt like she needed to do, and it building her identity outside of her title right now. So schedule time for personal growth like you would before a meeting. So I've got my, oh y'all, let me reach over here. I've got my calendar, right? And I don't know if you can see it, but it, you know, sometimes the lighting is really crazy, but if you probably can't. But what I'm going to share with you, it's broken down in 30-minute slots. And sometimes I put in there like going to a webinar, right? Going to a networking event, meeting with someone that I have no idea, you know, what they do, to learn from them. And so, okay, Tish says, I'm adding creator of hashtag Tispiration and founder of Mortal Crafting to my titles. Okay. And all good here. Pray the same for you and your family. Thank you so much, Tish. Back at you. So yeah, you know, we're in this personal growth, and put it on our calendars. It's a priority, you know. And again, our job title is just a chapter in the story of our life. It's just a chapter, y'all. Okay. Hey, hey, madam, how you doing? Happy New Year to you, Queen. So glad that you are here with us today. And hopefully you are doing well and your family is doing well. As you know, as we know, like 2025 is our year and we're just getting into it, right? So our job title is just a chapter in the story of our life. And it's not the entire book, y'all. All right. So when we focus on who we truly are, we're not only thriving personally, but we're going to be thriving professionally. And titles can come and go, but the essence of who we are, it's internal. Okay. It's long lasting. It's going to give us the legacy, the impact that we are seeking to have. Thank you. Thank you very much. The year to thrive. Yes, it is. Happy New Year, Nicole. How you doing? Thank you so much for being here with us live. I wish you a happy New Year and prosperous time. 2025 is our year for sure. And congratulations on your engagement, Queen. So titles can come and go. So it's really time to step into our power, y'all. All right. I think that's where we're really that I'm trying to get to. It's time to step into our power outside of our job titles. So what is one step that you can do today to rediscover your identity beyond the title? Okay. Remember, the world needs you, the real you, and not a copycat. And this is what we're talking about, the personal brand, who you are outside of uniform, titles, positions, roles. All right. And so I gave you 3 tips, and one was reflect on your values and passions, write the top 3 things down that you love to do, that has nothing to do with your job. Then develop a new elevator pitch. Instead of saying, hey, and I gave the example as I'm a teacher, you're going to say something to the effect of, I'm passionate about inspiring young minds and creating lifelong learners. Okay. Because it focuses on from what you do to who you are. And then lastly, prioritize your personal growth outside of work. All right. So maybe, getting a certification is something that you're really passionate about. Maybe it's, taking uh, a hobby, picking up a new hobby, volunteering, learning a new skill, and schedule for personal growth and put it on your calendar. Okay. That is the way that you can start to rediscover your identity. So you're welcome, Queen. You're absolutely welcome. So that was today's show. This was the Rise and Slay morning show. Hopefully, you're going to have, I know you're going to have a Slay Amazing week. I will see you back here on Sunday night for the Slay to Success talk show at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I bring in a guest who is living life on their own terms using the Slay philosophies, right? So, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you all soon. Bye. Keep on slaying until you can't slay no more. Love y'all.